Good morning, everyone. First off, I just want to apologize for me. Might sound a bit croaky or strange, but it's because I am a bit sick, fluish, and stuff like that. So I might pause a few times just to clear my throat or cough or something, so that I don't make you deaf if you're listening to you with earphones. So starting off on GU, just on the 4-hour time frame. I think first of all, I'm just looking at the most recent structure where we created a low, we created a level, high low, higher high, and then we kind of had this fake out and this push up, breaking structure towards the upside, and then expecting price to make a pullback. We didn't really make a deep pullback, and then we started continuing up higher. So from a structural point of view, I do think that we are bullish. So my idea would be just to see for a pullback and then continue the move towards the upside, potentially targeting these lows from a 4-hour point of view, or maybe something on the lower time frames in that region. So that's just my 4-hour bias, and I think that's where the draw on liquidity most likely will be. If we then just look at the 1-hour, the 1-hour is relatively pushing towards the upside quite strongly. We have yesterday's low coming in over there. So that is a point of liquidity and a point of interest for us that we could just pay attention to. And then we had a push up, but yesterday was mostly consolidated, probably due to the bank holiday in Britain, or the pound was on holiday. So now, currently my expectation is just for retracement and then a continuation up. That's nothing too difficult about that. So if we just look at it on the 15-minute, we have the Asian range. It's nice and trending towards the upside. So I'm looking for a pullback into this range, probably. And I would love to see this stop somewhere and then see the pullback back into the 50% of the continued range out of Asian session. So I know that is where Asian session stops, but wherever the push stops, I want to see then a push down into 50%. So this range that we have over here on the 15-minute, there's no full body candle, but we do have nice imbalance there. And then on the 5-minute, we have then a stronger full body candle in there, those two candles. So it does look promising if we can see price then, because we have a very clean structure break over here and a lot of trend line liquidity. So it is setting up for an impulsive push down into this area. So you can trade this both ways. If we now see probably maybe that we somewhere create some equal highs, and if this pushes down and breaks this structure, then we have our fake out or sweep, and then we look for that pattern that I showed in a group and on Instagram, and then we look for the pullback and then take a short down. So that's if you're more scalping and want to get in on both sides of the trade, but we could potentially see something like that if we get a pattern. If not, then obviously there's nothing to look at. So, but currently we're still bullish, so I wouldn't take any sells just yet because we're not sure where it's going to stop. I want to see this level taken out, swept. That's my ideal, because it's this liquidity high. So I do expect price to make an effort to go above it and then below. So we could potentially see it reach above it between a range of 5 to 10 pips, I would imagine. So if you just look at it, it could go all the way up to 10 pips or just 5 pips above it. So we want to see how price reacts around this area, and then on the 1-minute we can identify clearer structure shift, change of character in this area. So we want to see price go up, maybe get a double top, a quick fake out, and then down. Or we see price going up, down, make a lower high, and then break down, and then perhaps comes back up to an order block, and then continuation down. Lower. So we have to always blend higher time frame ideas, higher time frame areas with lower time frame execution. So here we have very nice equal highs. We have an impulsive move up that's starting to slow down. We need to break this area of demand before we go bearish, because price can very much easily just move down, respect this area, and then continue up higher. Because we have a break, we have an order block, price is mitigating, stepping up. So this is very possible as well. So we first need to see a clear intent in this area on a 1 minute, so we can see price is making breaking structure, creating new characteristics of bearish movement. And then also, so you can get in here if you see that type of thing happening. So you can get in here, but then you have to know that there's opportunity, there's a chance that price can just react and go higher from this area. So definitely then secure something at this area if you get into the trade up there. So that is then currently the bias, the view that I have. If we just look in the 5 minutes, so bullishness is still, I think, better idea longer term, but we are at a 1 hour liquidity area, so we just tapped above it as well. I see. Oh, that's my drawing. Yes, that's my drawing. We haven't. Sorry. So we can see a bigger reaction towards the downside as well. So don't fool yourself and think if we break above this, then we're going higher, because that's can also just be a fake out. So we need to see clear instructions of what to do. So there's a good chance that we can go bearish from this area as well. So shorts can be a very viable option, I do believe. But definitely I would want to see confirmation on the 1 minute. So ideally you can hedge it. Maybe you can take, if you get a nice confirmation entry, you can take the trade, and then when price gets down to this area, you can keep this position open and you can take something in this area, because there's bound to be a reaction, but might not be enough to break whatever high we created over here. And then you're still in the short, and you just take your profits and you continue the short towards the downside. That's very advanced, I don't think too much of it. But for now, I want to see how price reacts around this area and maybe give us a confirmation. Give us a confirmation entry, because currently you can see all through Asian session we've just been bulldozing on. We've just been really ramping it up, and often that can then lead to a pullback and then a continuation, or we can just see the push down. Okay, so that is then it for GU. Let's have a quick look at EU as well. We're starting here on the 4 hour today, and as you can see, EU has just been really pumping up towards the upside. I think the dollar index is really losing some strength and making more waves towards the downside. Yes, we can see the dollar index is moving down. We have this push broke structure, but then we came aggressively towards the downside again. Currently reaching for those lows over there, and we have a order block here as well on the 4 hour. So definitely I do think that price could be reaching for this area on the dollar index, reach for that area, and then we might see a reaction, not necessarily going this high, but a reaction up higher. So that's just my immediate view. Let's just have a quick look at. So EU is still very much bullish, going up. So let's just put in dollar index in here. So it should be more or less really correlated. You can see how it's quite inversely correlated, and you can see how it created a high, created a low, created a lower low, created a higher high, and currently we're just trending up. So correlation is perfect. There's no sign of manipulation yet, so we'll just have to pay a bit of attention on how this unfolds. So let's just turn this off for now. Yeah, so currently the idea kind of is bullish. There's nothing really setting up for me just yet, so nothing to get excited about just yet. If you look at the 1 hour, just a massive ramp towards the upside all through Asian session. So there's nothing really. So ideally we want to see Asian session moving like this. Then we know we're going to have a good, clear trading day. But when Asian session looks like this, like it did over here, then we're really in for a more difficult day. If you just look at it over here, we have the lows, Asian low, and then the high coming in at this candle. So it's a massive push up. And if it's this big as well, you don't really want to be too invested in that pair. 35 pips for EU, that's quite a lot. So for me, we might see a pullback, so you could trade a pullback on the lower time frames. But even the structure is not even super clear. So where do we know where's the structure break? Because you'll have to go on the 1 minute to really identify. Possibly this was the last structure, trade equals, then we broke it, then we start pushing back up again. So let's see how price reacts around this order block. This push down didn't really break any structure, then it consolidated and then it slowly broke down. So that kind of, if this push up broke down this structure, so if we had this push down over here and it broke this structure, it would have been better. But then we kind of stopped midway and then just consolidated. Now we're consolidating back up again. So we want to see how price reacts around this area, because that will give us an indication of maybe we have new structure and then we break structure again, and then we can look for an entry to take it short, and maybe even another one. So there can be multiple opportunities if price allows it. The reason I want to wait for this area first is because of the bullishness on the higher time frame. Like the 1 hour is just really bullish. Even though we have this bearish spin bar, it doesn't mean that we are now rejecting it, because if you just look at the higher time frame, we're currently reacting within this area over here. So if you just look at the bodies, but we have this as a fuller body candle and has nicer imbalance left below it. So ideally this would be in a better area for reaction for me if we look all the way to the left. So we do have some space to go up higher. So currently I would really be careful for EU. There's nothing really setting up for me now. So just keep that in mind. GU also is making a bit uncomfortable. You see we're pushing up above that area now, not giving any sign of exhaustion. So in days like this, it's best to sit with your hands. You can now take aggressive trade and think, okay, I'm going to short it over here because it's above this area, it's 5 pips, and we might get a trade. You might get lucky. But there's no planning, no proper analysis gone into something like this. This is just wishful thinking, which can sometimes be fruitful, but you see, or we can just blast on through and get stopped out very quickly. Alright guys, that's it from me this morning. Hope you got something from it, enjoy it, and yeah, talk to you again.